wait till next budget year. But scroll down, let me show you what the total of this is. Okay, so you see the FY23 total cost right now is almost 5.7 million. And I'm pointing this out to say that even though we've come so far with our streets, I mean, we went from 2013, we were spending about $500,000 on streets. Now we're spending $4 million on streets. And we've come a long way, and we're getting our street is our city streets are so much better. But I'm pointing out to say that we still have streets out there that I can't look across the table at a citizen and say, you're not right, because they are right. They're like, well, my street needs to be paved. I'm like, you know what, you're right. But your street's not in as bad a condition as the ones in front of you. So anyway, enough of that. So what I'm proposing, and we can do it one or two ways. I'm hoping that we can move ahead quickly and go ahead and get our asphalt contractor on the Landerson roads, maybe even before the next budget year. So if we do that, or even if it is in October, what I'm proposing to you or asking your thoughts on, will you scroll back up to my total for FY22? And we wouldn't do it tonight, but what I'm asking you is, will you consider a budget amendment to let us pull this third out for the Landerson Road, which was $433,000, pull that out of our surplus. That way I can take those out of my FY22s and I can move some of these others that are in critical condition in 23. I can move them up and go ahead and address those in FY22. And if you don't want to do that, I mean, y'all know we have an excess surplus. We have a significant excess surplus. And I don't like to get into, y'all hear me talk about this all the time, I don't ever like to get into paying recurring expenses with one-time money. That's not smart. And so I don't recommend that. But this is kind of a strange situation because it's not your normal thing that's going to come up frequently like our city streets. It is a city, it's a three-way governmental entity problem. So I kind of view it as kind of like a one-time thing. That's why I'm asking you if y'all would agree to let us fund that with one-time money out of surplus. And again, so it frees up my budget and allows me to pay more critical streets, move them up.
You know, just mention on that list which ones show critical.
Yeah.
How will you choose which ones you pick?
Well, the ones that would be picked would be the ones that are in the worst condition. So you see the ones, and I'll say this, just usually it's going to be critical, but like I said, we rate them based on two things: condition first, but also traffic volume. So like, if I have a small neighborhood street that's maybe in a little worse condition than a collector street, which would be like a Custer Drive or a Southaven Circle or Greenbrook Parkway, something like that, I'm going to prioritize the one that has more volume if they're about the same. But to answer your question, no, I'm not going to move a street up that's in totally fair condition. It would be one of the ones that are on the list that are critical there. One of the ones specifically that's going to be tough for us to do both. Scroll up just a little bit for me. If you'll get towards the top, you'll see Custer Drive and Southaven Circle. These streets are in Colonial Hills. There's Custer right there. You can't see it all the way. Go all the way to the left for me if you would. So you can see that these are both major they're big collective streets in Colonial Hills. They haven't been touched. I bet you they haven't been touched in 25 years. They're both bad. But what makes it tough is to do them both in 1 year. So if we don't do that, what I'm probably going to have to do is do one or the other and bump the other one back to the next budget. Because if you look at the list, you see a lot of streets, 35,000, 42,000, 41, 32, 12. Southaven Circle and Custer are both about 300,000 apiece. That's kind of what we did on Greenbrook Parkway. We did Greenbrook Parkway in two segments because it was so expensive. We did the northern section back to the state line one budget year. Then we came back either the next year or 2 budget years later and did, which we just did. We did the southern portion of it because it was so expensive. So that's what I'll probably have to do, Alderman Jerome, is I'll have to knock one of the big ones down just to make the budget work. But if we do what I'm proposing, it's gonna give me some flexibility to maybe pick up. And scroll down one more time to the 23, I want to tell you about a few other streets that, okay, if you get at the top here and you see Southcrest Parkway, obviously is a high volume street, and it needs to be resurfaced, but it's not so bad. It has some critical spots, but it's mostly fair. But the reason it's at the top is it's obviously the hospital and so much traffic on it. Malone Road, another one, state line to Goodman. Malone Road it's fair mostly, Alderman Wheeler, you know, but it's got a few like really messed up spots. So, and again, it gets so much traffic. But then if you go down some of the ones I want to move up, one budget, not stop right, go up, stop right there. That's good. If you'll look at what I'm calling North Greenbrook, Hackberry, Greenway Road, Cypress Drive and Cove, Pin Oak Point, Driftwood Point, Hackberry, Twinwood, and these are ones that we already have some in North Greenbrook that are in our FY22 year, but these are just as bad. Like if you'll see in the rating, it's not fair, it's critical. I mean, there's no fair, well, you know what I'm talking about. They're terrible. And so that's what makes it so tough on me when I'm doing this is like, I got two that, man, I mean, they're both bad. They're both the same. So it's tough to wait another year on one of those like that. So long way to answer Alderman Jerome's question, but what I would probably do is I would take these North Greenbrook streets I just named, Old Forge is another one, and I would move those up because they're that bad. And again, like I was saying about Southaven Circle and Custer, I bet you they haven't been touched in at least 20 years, maybe even 25 years. So anyway, that's all I want to say. And if y'all want to do that, we don't have to do it tonight, but I want y'all to be thinking about that because I'll need some direction. I go ahead and finalize like when we do what, and then go ahead and give a clear answer back, to the county and CDB, so we can go ahead and get our contractor lined up to do those.
I don't see a problem.
Yeah.
What's the estimated North Third again?
433,330.
Mayor, we still have plans to touch the roads every so many years, but
We do, and we did that study years ago, and we're in uncharted territory. I'll venture to say that there's no city in Mississippi that has analyzed their streets more than we have, and I'll be the first to tell you, it's nobody really knows. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's a stab in the dark, but I don't have comfort in saying that we're on a plan to touch everyone in 7 years. It's just, we have over 1,100 streets in South Haven. It's just, and the costs have gone up. It's unbelievable, as y'all see, the cost to resurface streets, but it's so important that our streets look good. It's so important. I mean, I'm telling you, it just breaks my heart. I ride down some of these streets, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm ashamed that I've let your street be like that, and it's not my fault, but I own it now, because it's my fault. But anyway, it bothers me that some of our streets are in that condition, but they're that way in every city. I mean, they're worse. I mean, if you look at the other, and I'm not knocking anybody else around us, but if you look at the other cities around us, our streets are better. We've allocated more money to our streets than other cities in Mississippi have. It does show. Yeah. The reason I make it, and Alderman Flores, I appreciate your comments, the reason I make this a twofold ask is because for me to be able to finalize this, I need to know if we can use some of the surplus. And so all I would be asking for is that you let me remove the 3 Landers Center roads from my operational budget, which frees me up to be able to get some of these other streets. And we get into carving out the details of the surplus, but y'all know we've had some other things that we've had to allocate some surplus money to, but we're still extremely good. We have a large amount of excess surplus, so we do have the money if y'all are willing to do that. But anyway, we don't have to decide that tonight, but I want y'all to be aware of the issue. I will be coming back to you quickly, to ask about it, because like I said, for me to finalize my street budget, I need to know that.
Mayor, I'm in favor
Yeah, and as always, I want everybody to be comfortable with what we're talking about. But then again, I'm not disrespecting your right to make a motion, so. Are you making a motion? Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Hoots to, remove these 3 streets from the operational budget and pay for them, or no, leave them in there, but just do a budget amendment to move the cost of the 3 Lander Center roads from excess surplus. Is there a second? Does anyone want to make a second tonight, or y'all want to talk about it?
I'm forward.
Okay. I haven't heard a second. Is there a second? Okay. That motion fails, so we'll continue to talk about it, and then we'll go ahead and expeditiously, and we will need an answer expeditiously, so we can go ahead and finalize the vote. Okay, that's all I have. Thank y'all for putting that up there and helping me with that tonight. I appreciate that. Okay, that's all I have this evening. Are there any other questions about anything else from the board for me? Hearing none, we'll move on. Next on our agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the personnel docket as presented on this day.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on our agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Mr. Nick Manley again.
2 quick items. At the first meeting, you recall, we canceled the WCA contract because we were a new board. That was the contract that assisted with finding invoicing from the water department that was not being working their full amount. But as part of that contract, we did, the way the contract worked, we owed money over the next 36 months for those payments that they helped us save money on. So the contract is canceled moving forward. We still do have obligations to pay for those savings moving forward. So I just need authorization for Ray Humphrey to work with WCA to make those payments moving forward as contractually obligated for the work they have performed, not for any future work. So, motion out of that.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
The motion carries.
And the next is, contract got finalized this morning, I sent out this afternoon, it's with geotechnology. It is for the boring and testing associated with the amphitheater design. As part of the design by Urban Art, those buildings that are going to be possibly added to the amphitheater, we need to have a boring test to check the soil. So with the authorization tonight for the mayor to sign that contract with geotechnology, amount of $11,300 for those services.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill leak adjustment docket as presented.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is one claims docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the claims docket in the amount of $1,625,028.54, including claim checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is to determine the need for executive session. We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The need this evening is land acquisition for street right-of-ways, claims and litigation against public works and utilities, economic development within the city, and citywide personnel. Is there a motion to declare executive session? Got a motion by Alderman Gallagher, a second by Alderman Wheeler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.